So now that we've looked at the various types of toolpaths, we're going to apply a couple of these to our project. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select our rectangle. We're going to, in this case, use a profile toolpath. What we want to do is we want to create a decorative border around our text. So I'm going to click on Create Profile Toolpath, and you'll see in this profiling toolpath window, the first option that we have, as I mentioned, is that we have the option to machine outside, inside, or along the line. And because we're doing a decorative border, essentially we're going to put the tool, the center of the tool is going to go on the center of the line and create that decorative border. So we're going to go along the line. Our start depth is going to be 0. That's the top of our material. Our finish depth, we're going to set quite low at 0.125. So it's going to machine to 1/8 of an inch. Tolerance is always left at default of 0.001. If yours is a little bit different, then you may want to change that to 2.001. It should remember it the next time you open the software. Essentially, all that the tolerance means is that if you're machining a radius, like this corner here, the tolerance will not allow the tool to move more than 1/1000th of an inch away from this radius. So you'll get nice smooth radiuses. If I change this number to something like say 0.1, now it's going to allow the tool to move as much as 0.1 of an inch away from this. And so your radiuses won't be radiuses at all. They'll be very jagged and really not very attractive at all. We're going to select the tool that we want to choose from. So we click to select the tool. And you'll see that there are many tools listed. Each of these sections has as you open them up, you'll see inside them there are several tools listed. At the very bottom of your list, you'll see that there's a section called iCarver General Toolkit 40-928. This is the toolkit that we offer with our iCarver series machines. Now, if you own one of these toolkits, contained in this list is all of the tools that you own in your kit. If you do not own the kit, I would still recommend using these tools because the preset feed rates, or sorry, the preset step downs and step overs in the tools are set specifically for our iCarver machines. So all of the settings will be exactly what you want them to be when you're using these tools. So in this case, we're going to select a 90-degree V-bit, and we're going to click Select, and you can see there's our 90-degree V-bit selected. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. We have one more setting that we have to establish here, and it's right here where you see Click to Define Material. I'm going to open up this section here, and you can see at this point we have not defined the material thickness of our project, because at this point we haven't made any decisions on how deep we're machining anything. So we're going to set the material thickness in this particular project at 3/4 of an inch. We're assuming that we're going to use a piece of 3/4 inch material for this particular project, and we are going to click OK. And we'll click Calculate. And you can see that I didn't select any vectors, so I'm going to do so. Click Calculate. And now the software has a function that we really like, which is called Simulation. I'm going to click Simulation. And you can see it shows us a simulation of the project being machined. And you can see that we've created the machining toolpath for our rectangle. So next what we're going to do is we're now going to create a second toolpath, which is going to be for our text. Now right now you can see but it has moved us to our 3D view. We need to go back to our 2D view now. And in the 2D view, we're now going to select our text. And because we want to create the geometry exactly as we see it, we're going to use the V-bit carving toolpath as we discussed. Again, we're going to use our selected vectors, which is the text that we have selected. You can see that it is highlighted. Start depth will be 0. You see we have the option of limiting the maximum tool depth. If we don't limit the maximum tool depth, basically what will happen, if I can zoom in on the lettering for a second, the software will understand that it's going to use the geometry of the tool. In this case, we're going to use a 90-degree V-bit, and it's going to machine down till the 2 points of that V meet. So as you can see, wider areas in letters, it's going to machine a little bit deeper. In narrow areas, a little less deep. In this case, we probably don't need to limit the maximum tool depth, but if we had very wide areas that we were going to machine, sometimes it's necessary to limit the maximum tool depth so that it doesn't over machine that area. So we're not going to set the maximum tool depth in this case. We're just going to let the tool geometry establish that depth. We're going to select the same 90-degree V-bit, and we're going to calculate. And once again, I didn't select the vectors. We'll calculate it, close this window, and once again we'll do a simulation. And as we zoom in, you can see there is our rectangle. And and there is our text, and it's exactly as we want it. The other option that I have is if I push my the center of my mouse, the roller on my mouse, if I push that in the center, I can actually rotate this on several different angles and look at it from different perspectives to make sure it's exactly what I want it to be. Once I'm satisfied that it's what I want, the last step in the process is going to be that we're going to save the toolpath.